So on October 1st this year, 64-year-old Stephen Paddock prepared an arsenal of 23 weapons, high-capacity magazines, and countless rounds of ammunition. He placed a Do Not Disturb sign on the door of his 32nd floor suite at the Las Vegas Mandalay Bay Hotel. Then went to the window overlooking the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival, where some 22,000 concertgoers had gathered, and he opened fire. Over roughly 10 minutes, aided by the use of legally purchased bump stocks, he fired hundreds of rounds into the crowd, killing 58 people and wounding 546 before turning the gun on himself in the single deadliest mass shooting in American history. It's been 45 days since Las Vegas, and while our nation has once more plunged in the same old gun debate with the same talking points and same outrage, one question has repeated itself over and over in our heads. How can we help? I have a real and strong and healthy respect for the rights guaranteed by the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. I have no interest in demonizing gun ownership. As director of our state's second largest law enforcement agency, the Department of Probation, Parole, and Pardon Services, I carried a firearm while serving warrants with my agents. I have held a CWP, a concealed weapons permit. I own several firearms to this day, as do most, if not all, members of Columbia City Council. We also believe in responsible gun ownership and believe in common sense. And that's why we've decided to do what our federal and state governments are either unwilling or unable to do. We decided to act by introducing a city ordinance to ban the use of bump stocks or trigger cranks or gat cranks in the city of Columbia. The simple fact is that automatic weapons have been illegal in this country for more than 30 years, and the only purpose that these devices serve is to circumvent that law by multiplying firing rates tenfold to approximately 400 to 800 rounds per minute, and turning a semi-automatic firearm into a mass murder machine. This is wrong in every sense. You all may have a copy of the draft ordinance 14-100 declaring enhanced trigger devices illegal. And I'll be happy to answer questions about it when you have, if you have any at the end. But I do want to be clear about a few points. This is not a gun ban, nor is there any interest in banning firearms in the city of Columbia amongst legal and responsible gun owners. This is about enforcing existing law. Bump stocks, trigger cranks, gat cranks are designed for the sole purpose of circumventing the long-standing federal ban on automatic firearms. They serve no other purpose. This applies only to devices attached to weapons. If you own a bump stock and/or a trigger crank or gat crank already, you make sure it's completely disconnected and stored separately from any firearm. This ordinance has the support of our chief of police and our sheriff of Richland County, strong law enforcement support, who recognize again that this is common sense. This ordinance will be introduced at our city council's December 5th meeting, our regular meeting nearly 3 weeks from now. This was intentional because we wanted to make sure that we had plenty of time for an open and productive dialogue where all voices could be heard. And finally, no one expects that passing this ordinance will magically solve all of our problems. This is a piece, just one piece, of a much, much larger puzzle. But that alone should not stop us from moving forward, because the other choice is that we do nothing, and that is not an option. This is not the first time we've taken the lead on issues vital to public safety, whether it was banning texting while driving, cracking down on bath salts, or issuing body cameras to our police officers in advance of most cities around the country. We've consistently stepped forward to meet the challenges before us when others have failed to act. This is not the first time we've taken the lead, but it may be the most important. I'm proud to be joined by my friend Sam Davis, a senior member of City Council. I will tell you there's broad, strong, and deep support on our council for this new ordinance. I'd be happy to try and answer any questions that you might have. I'm sure I can anticipate some of them, so if you want me to go ahead and start answering them before you ask them, I can do that. But certainly, I do want to make one more thing clear before I take your questions. I'm a gun guy. I am an owner of firearms. I'm an owner of several firearms. I am a strong supporter and have defended the right to bear arms and our constitutional rights under the Second Amendment. I think the term people usually reference when we talk about these incredibly horrific gun crimes we've seen is that a good guy with a gun always helps solve the problem. Well, you have a lot of good guys with guns here in Columbia, South Carolina, and several of them on Columbia City Council. It's time for good guys with guns, people on both sides of the aisle, Republican, Democrat, Independent, to start stepping up and pushing for responsible gun laws that seek to make sure that we can enhance safety all across our community.